fans, welcome back to the episode of Locked On Buckeyes, part of Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast, and today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKEDON to get 20% off your next order. It is Monday, the first day in the month of March. February blew by in the year 2021. And for the first time all year, the Buckeyes lose 3 games in a row. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at JSteven07. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter as well at Locked On Buckeye. Lined up for today in segment 2. We're going to talk what issues the Buckeyes currently have with their current team. Segment 3, going to give you an update on the current standings in the Big Ten in regards to where seeding will be for the Big Ten Conference Tournament. But we begin today's show talking about what we witnessed yesterday, where the Buckeyes lost their 3rd game in a row, this time a loss to the Iowa Hawkeyes early on in this game. And it's the same way with every game. You could tell, look at the body language of players, of coaches, by the communication on both the offensive and defensive ends of the court, and realize if your team is ready to go or not. May it be body language. May it be just missing an assignment. May it be mental errors like I just described one of them. It could be a few different things, but you could just quickly tell if your team is ready to play or not. Now, with that in mind, that is not going to say your team is going to win the game or lose the game based off them being ready to go or not ready to go at the opening tip. But, big but here, if your team is ready to go, if your team is ready to go to battle, go to war in a way, yeah, you could tell you're going to have a better chance of winning said game if you're mentally and physically ready to go in this matchup. Well, yesterday, it looked like early on the Buckeyes were not ready. Were they nervous or were they a little scared of Luka Garza? I don't know. Was it Bohannon? Was it the coaches' boys, Patrick and Connor? Were they a little afraid of them? I don't know. Was it, we don't have to play as hard because Jack Nungy coming off the bench, we don't have to worry about him coming in and just shooting 3 after 3 after 3? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it was. But one thing I will say is this. It surely seemed like the Buckeyes, at times, weren't ready to play. They didn't come with the energy and the effort. May it been the game against Michigan State last Thursday. They were still coming. They were still down because of that, down with being in a low spot, and they hadn't picked themselves back up. May it be that a 4 o'clock tip on a Sunday afternoon, the first time all year, they just physically, it's my nap time, man. I got to play a basketball game. I don't know. These are all just excuses that don't really hold much weight. And if you're trying to say something that's going to stick to the wall, none of them do. Why? You're playing basketball. You're playing the game that you've received a scholarship to play. Excuses don't matter, man. No. At the time of the game, you are the number 4 team in the country. It's clear that you're not the number 4 team in the country at this point in time by the way you are currently playing. Yes, Luka Garza had another double-double. I believe it was 24 and 11. And early on in the game, you could tell he was going to be in his bag. And the post shooting threes, the Ohio State Buckeyes had nothing to combat him with, no way to stop him. He did shoot 10 for 16 from the field. Wieskamp, 19 points for Iowa, 7 of 13 from the field, 5 of 9 from downtown. Those are the only 2 scorers from Iowa that were in double digits. Bohannon had 8 points. Keaton Murray had 8 points. And that's it. I almost said Frederick, but Frederick had 5. But that was it. Yeah, the 2 double digits, the 2 guys with 8 points, and everybody else, the next highest score was with 5 points for the Iowa Hawkeyes. For Ohio State, what was one problem? We'll pinpoint this more in the next segment. But defensively, their defensive communication was not there. They were struggling to put the ball in the basket in a way that it was bad. I mean, atrocious. I mean, the last 5-6 minutes of the game, I believe the Buckeyes only scored 1 field goal. Last 5 to 6 minutes of the game, one of the most efficient offenses in college basketball this year, only had 1 field goal. Yes, E.J. Liddell led the way, 7 of 11 shooting, 15 points. Justice Ewing, 12 points, 4 of 8 shooting from the field. C.J. Walker, 10 points, 5 of 9 shooting from the field. But Dwayne Washington Jr., with the run that he has been on and the way that he has played, the Buckeyes need more than 7 points from Jr. in a game like that to be successful. The Buckeyes can't have their leading scorer off the bench only put up 4 points, Musa Jallow, who is not known for the scoring, and you can't have Zed Key, who was scoreless, 0 for 1 from the field, didn't shoot a free throw, and wasn't in foul trouble because he only had 2 fouls in this game. You want to win? You want to take a deep tournament run? You want to play on Sunday in your own conference tournament? Bring the juice. The Buckeyes didn't bring the juice. The Buckeyes didn't come prepared. The Buckeyes didn't come mentally ready. And ultimately, you have another loss in your win-loss record, 18-7. I don't believe anybody expected an 18-7 record from this Buckeye team right now. They're better than this. They're way better than this. The Buckeyes did not play their best basketball. The Buckeyes looked at times a little lethargic, almost like Iowa was doing whatever they wanted. Now, got to give credit to where credit is due. Iowa was playing defense in a way that I don't think anybody expected Iowa to play the defense. However, that is not an excuse for Ohio State to throw in the towel, to close up shop, to say, yeah, they're playing offense in this way, they're playing defense in this way. We're just not going to show up and play today. Forget it. You guys will be just fine without us. That's not a reason there to go ahead and close up shop. It's embarrassing. It's not fun. Not enjoyable to watch that brand of basketball. But the Buckeyes have one more game left in the regular season, and I'm glad there's almost a week in between the games, or there's a week in between the games, with the next game being this coming Saturday against the Illinois Fighting Illini, because the Buckeyes need all the practice, all the film study to get mentally prepared for what's to come over the next few weeks, because if they don't, they might not be having a deep tournament run and playing as long into March, as deep into March as they would like to. Go to step away really quickly. When we come back, we're going to pinpoint and talk about some issues the Buckeyes had, not just yesterday, but in some recent games they have played. There is a good chance you may be like me and you like a good protein bar. I mean, good protein bar. You know, one of those protein bars where the macros fit your diet and it tastes like candy as well. Well, guys, I have ended my search, and there's a good chance after listening to Built Bar and testing out Built Bar, you might end yours as well. Built Bar is great for the health-conscious guy. It'll help you lose or maintain weight while indulging in a delicious treat. Bars are low-calorie, low-sugar, high-protein, high-fiber, and they're great for the keto diet. And with a purchase at BuiltBar.com, you will get a free cooler. Now, those are only available while supplies last. To go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKEDON20. And you will get 20% off your next order. Make sure you go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKEDON20. That's LOCKEDON20 for 20% off at BuiltBar.com. Get more of the sports news you need in less time with our new Locked On Today podcast. Peter Bukowski hosts Locked On Today, a daily podcast breaking down the biggest stories with analysis from our local experts. Start your day with all the sports news you need in under 20 minutes. Subscribe to Locked On Today wherever you get your podcast. If this is your first time listening or watching Locked On Buckeyes, I want to say welcome. Or if it's your first time in a long time listening or watching the show, I want to say welcome back. Make sure you guys subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes so you don't miss a beat. Locked On Buckeyes drops a fresh new episode every Monday through Friday. Man. I want to talk about issues. I want to talk about things happening that aren't pleasant. I want to talk about things going on that make you kind of scratch your head and say, we're better than that. That doesn't look right. Please help me. Man, why is this happening now? 3-game losing streak right at the end of the regular season. Get all of the losses out now. All of them. Every single one. Get your bad shooting out. Get your bad defensive play out. Get your lack of communication. Get your inconsistent play Get all of that out now. All of it. All A-L-L. Get all of that nonsense out the way. Because you're going to go up in a Big Ten conference tournament that everybody's coming for your head. Especially more now because people see more of what your issues are. They're on Front Street. And by you just basically not playing your brand of basketball, people are going to come for you, come for your head, come for it quick, come for it hard, and they're going to come and say, ooh, okay, cool. They only got EJ Liddell. Junior's not playing that hot. Okay. CJ Walker trying to put a few more balls in the basket. It's an alarm. Maybe I'm going a little too crazy. Thought I turned it off, but I guess I did not. Teams are going to come for your head consistently every single time you're on the court. And some of the issues that we're seeing right now is not just something that we noticed in yesterday's game. They've been there the entire season. But the lack of size Ohio State has, it's not good. Now, granted, you recruit players to fit the needs and what your team is desiring right now. I get it. I understand it. But aside from 6'8" Kyle Young and 6'8" Zed Key, and Kyle Young's not really your traditional big man. He's more of a Butler style. It's not a knock on Butler basketball, but more of a Butler, Brad Stevens, Chris Holtmann, gritty, grind it out, do some of the little things. Not your traditional Big Ten big man that's going to be starting in a basketball game as your big man for your team. That's not what Kyle Young is. Not knocking him, not knocking his skill set, not knocking what he brings to this table. But you think a Big Ten big man, Kyle Young? Mm-mm. And one thing I did notice going into the game, I was kind of curious on how the Kyle Young being back on the court, EJ Liddell thing was going to go. I mean, it's going. It's going as good as it can. But you're going to have a team that's going to have some big guys that you haven't faced all year. They might be a little versatile. Might be able to hit you inside, outside, little mid-range game. Not the bruiser that Luka Garza is, but a guy that can stretch you out a little bit. Get you out in a place where you're not comfortable. And with that in mind, the Buckeyes, there's nothing you can do. I mean, I'm not trying to belabor a point, but there's nothing the Buckeyes really can do right now as far as their height or lack of size that they have. But that is a big issue that they have. Imagine Liddell gets in foul trouble, Young gets in foul trouble, and Key gets in foul trouble. You want to go 5 out? You want to go five wings, 5 guards, 3 or 4 guards and a forward? That's a recipe for disaster. Size is not on their side right now. Also, lack of communication on defense. Defensive rotations have been poor, but the lack of communication, that's been something that's been a problem for a while. You watched the game yesterday. I'm not going to bring in the defensive ratings or bring in the analytic numbers because I don't think they really you don't need them to tell that the Buckeyes have had issues right now with communication. There were numerous times, and I'm not saying that there were cross-court passes or a player was double-teamed and all of a sudden, bam, the ball goes across the court and somebody hits a wide-open three. I'm not talking about that. I mean the normal, hey, my man's picking you. Are we going to switch this or are we going to stay where we are? That type of communication. Oh, wait. Backdoor cutter. Nobody's communicating. 2 points, easy. Go the other way. And as you're going the other way, you have players looking at each other, Buckeyes, discussing what just happened to them on that play. And you're thinking, wait. Are we really doing this right now? Are we really going to stop the game, argue like little girls, complain because of what's going on that play? We got to get back to the other end of the court and forget what just happened. One thing about elite players, and I know it's a lot of pros in college, I get it. They're 18, 19, 20. They're doing a lot of what they see in the NBA, and NBA players complain all the time. Let me say that again. NBA players complain all the time. I'm not going to make any names or say any names. I know some of you, your favorite player might be a complainer, but NBA players complain way too much, and these youngsters are just doing, a lot of them are just doing what they see from players in the National Basketball Association. The lack of size is not good for Ohio State right now. The lack of communication is not good right now. They're consistently inconsistent on the offensive end of the court at times. We have seen a great stretch, a great run of play from Junior, Dwayne Washington Jr. I like to call him Junior because your boy likes nicknames. But if he's not going, if his shot's not falling, Justin Orange isn't hitting shots, where are the points going to come from? You can say, okay, Jay, well, you got EJ Liddell. You got Justice Suey. Okay? Outside of that, who is the guy on Ohio State where you're saying, look, I can give that guy the ball and allow him to go get a shot? Is it CJ Walker? I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far at all. It could eventually be EJ Liddell down the stretch, yes, but teams have realized Liddell's their only go-to. Liddell's their only guy where the Buckeyes can't get the ball to Liddell and allow him to get off, allow him to score. He only had 15. How many games is Ohio State going to win where they only put up 57 points and Liddell only scores 15 points? Not many. Not many at all. As good of an offensive team as they are, if they're not putting the ball in their basket, their defense is not strong enough, nowhere near strong enough to overcome or withstand some attack from an opponent because they realize the Buckeyes are right where they have the Buckeyes right where they want them. Lack of size, inconsistency, lack of communication. Allowing a defense that's not that good to be as lethal as it was, a lot of that was mental. Energy and effort, there have been times throughout this latter part of the season, the energy and effort from the Buckeyes has not been at an all-time high, but it has been low, it has been poor, it has been embarrassing to watch. And if I'm Chris Holtmann, oh my goodness, my face would be so red. Can't have it right now, can't have it at all, but my face would be so red because this is not the basketball these guys play consistently. This is not what Chris Holtmann and what these young men have been preaching how to play. This isn't it. This isn't Buckeye basketball from this year. Yes, Ohio State is not a basketball school, but even not schools that aren't basketball schools, they can be successful and win national championships in the NCAA tournament. It's hard. Most of the winners lately, they have ended up winning. They have won championships before, while and winning another one recently. Ohio State, early on, people were like, man, that's a national championship contender. I won't rule them out because anything is possible, but I will say it's going to be very, 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 very tough for Ohio State to win a natty this year. Going to step away very quickly one more time. When we come back, we're going to talk all about the Big Ten Conference Tournament and what it will take for Ohio State to win that tournament coming up very, very soon. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Football might be over, but NBA, college basketball, and the NHL are in full swing. BetOnline even covers awards, TV shows, and reality TV. Real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up. Head to betonline.ag on your computer or your mobile device and make sure you use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Once again, that is betonline.ag. Go there on your computer or mobile device and use promo code LOCKEDON. That is LOCKEDON to receive your 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, your online sports book experts. NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson host Locked On's Peacock and Williamson every Monday through Friday. Brian and Matt give you the national perspective all around the NFL, covering all the latest news and insight on every game, team, and move around the NFL. Get your picks, previews, and much more every weekday with the Peacock and Williamson podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Subscribe to the Peacock and Williamson podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. The conference tournament is right around the corner. It's so close. The Buckeyes have one more regular season game on March the 6th against the Illinois Fighting Illini. I want to say last time I checked, that was a 2 o'clock tip, but I don't want to say that for certain because I'm not sure if that is true. But one more regular season game on the 6th. will not play another game probably until the 11th, maybe the 12th, but probably on the 11th of March because of the loss that they had yesterday. The Big Ten Conference tournaments have recently been changed. The conference tournament does start, or at least the Big Ten tournament as a whole starts on the 10th of March, about a week and a half from now. Then you have the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th as well for the Big Ten Conference tournament to be played. As it stands right now, the 4 teams in the Big Ten that get a bye between the first round and the second round are the team up north has the number 1 seed. I believe that's locked in. I don't think there's anything they can do to lose that. Number 2 seed, the Illinois Fighting Illini. Number 3, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Number 4, the pesky Purdue Boilermakers. One thing, I was on Locked On Big Ten. I actually be on that show every single Monday with Big Ten Ben. And I mentioned on there, Ben thought, I think it was just thinking in his head, Ohio State still had the 4th seed, Purdue was the 5th seed. I said, Ben, Purdue beat Ohio State twice. In Mackey and in the shot, in Lafayette, Indiana, West Lafayette, Indiana, and in Columbus, Ohio. Purdue beat them twice. Now, maybe if they split, there may be a way where Ohio State does have the 4th seed and Purdue has the 5th seed. But now you're seeing those losses hold more weight, especially when it comes to the seeding in this tournament. Some people out there, they do believe, and they will say the Big Ten regular season or regular season games in college basketball, in college football, they mean absolutely nothing. We are seeing right now, right before our eyes, they mean a lot. If the tournament were to start today, literally today, the Buckeyes would be the 5th seed. They would play the winner of Northwestern and Penn State. Do I have faith and do I believe that they would win those games? Absolutely. Either matchup, either Penn State or Northwestern. Northwestern beat Ohio State by 1 point, 71-70. I believe that was a road game in Evansville, Illinois. And then Penn State, I believe that Ohio State will beat Penn State as well. So I'm not really so much worried about that because I do think by that time the Buckeyes will be playing a whole lot better. The very next game, going from the 11th to the 12th, and that Thursday matchup of whoever they play if the season ended today and the seeding was how things are right now, the very next game on the 12th, which is a Friday, the Buckeyes will play the Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue beat Ohio State twice, the only team that beat Ohio State twice in the regular season this year. And I'm just going to sit here and be honest with you. I think if they play a third time, especially based off the way that Ohio State is playing right now, is playing right now, Purdue will win again. Purdue does not have the most talent. Purdue does not have the best coach. They have an elite coach. They don't have the best coach. But I think Purdue, with the way Sasha Stefanovic, I'm stuttering like crazy today. The way that Sasha Stefanovic is playing right now, with what Travion Williams did to Ohio State the first time around, with the way that Jaden Ivey is playing, a youngster, and Mason Gillis is playing, a youngster, the way that this team is gelling and meshing at this time right now, I think Purdue would win. It's a confidence killer going into the tournament. Yeah, you're going to have more time off to prepare, but the Buckeyes need some wins under their belt, not just because they want to win the game, but because confidence boosts are needed right now. The Buckeyes, they can beat Purdue. The Buckeyes, they can beat Northwestern. They can beat Penn State. They can beat almost anybody in the Big Ten. But playing the way they are right now, it's going to be hard for them to beat anybody. Guys, hate to end the show on a negative note. We'll get a little bit more positive coming back tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much for listening and or watching another episode of Locked On Buckeyes. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at JSteven07. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter as well at Locked On Buckeye. Remember, guys, make sure you check out Locked On Big Ten every Monday. I will be joining Big Ten Ben as we are recapping the weekend in sports and having a little fun talking about Big Ten athletics as we always do. 5-star review, guys. You guys can always fill up that review section in Apple with 5-star reviews. You know the drill. You fill out a 5-star review. I see it. We'll read it here live on the show. Come back tomorrow. We'll talk more about basketball. Come back on Wednesday. We'll go back to having a football Wednesday, talking about what's coming up from these athletes going into these upcoming NFL draft.